Make sure everything is correct. Let me make sure everything is correct before I step. Hold up, hold up. What's going on? Millennia Rosa. Yo, what's going Yo, what's going on, yo? This is Marcus Rosa, aka Mazuma TV, back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. I hope y'all had a great day overall, man. Back at y'all with some more boxing talk. We got some things that we currently need to discuss that's going on in the boxing world, man. We're gonna talk about Devin the Dream Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. being official for November of this year. We're going to talk about what's next for Floyd Schofield, a.k.a. Kid Austin. And then, of course, we're going to get into some open boxing topics. You feel what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that's in the building so far. If y'all can go ahead and hit that like button, that'd be very much appreciated. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that's in the motherfucking building right now. We on the road to 4K. About to hit that we well into the 3K mark. I'm going to hit that 4K mark in due time. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. Let me go ahead. Let me bring my little stuff up. What's going on? Y'all talk to me. How y'all feeling? I see a shit ton of comments so far. Simba said, salute to Mazuma, the realest. Let's get this boxing talking. Absolutely. Salute. Philly. Mazuma, you don't know UFC, commentate UFC. If I was an expert in that field, or if I had experience in that field, I would, brother. But unfortunately, I do not know the UFC that well. I'm not that well versed. You know, I would consider myself a casual UFC fan. You feel what I'm saying? So I feel like if I don't know what I'm talking about, then there's no point in me commentating it. You know what I mean? I tuned in to watch Taporia, knockout, Charles Oliveira and stuff like that. And I gave you guys my thoughts and what I saw, but I'm not gonna step into a lane that I'm not well versed in, man. So my apologies to that. Beta tester, what up? He said, Mazuma, someone asked Tank, go on live with Lamont. He said he don't know who Lamont is. Dude, a troll, bro. I don't understand that. That's not funny to me. How could you not know somebody who just punched you in your fucking face and got a draw with in your last fight? That don't even make sense. You sound goofy for real, but that's just Tank for you. You feel what I'm saying? You know what I mean? He over here talking, the motherfuckers is making fights. So it is what it is. What can I really say about that? Shout out to everybody that's in the building, man. Salute. Bad Boom Balloon, what up, homie? What you saying? I look like that stone emoji. That's what you trying to say? Bad Boom Balloon. Coffee plant, what up? What's popping? I'm chilling, bro. I'm maintaining. How you feeling, brother? Marlon, what up? Yeah, Dev Ducks, no smoke. Yeah, man. I'm gonna tell you what. If Devin continues to put on like these big type of like dangerous type of fights, this kid's resume is gonna be impeccable when it's all said and done. You know what I'm saying? Huh? Lewis, what up? Marky Dan said Tevin Farmer got the pockets ripped off his jeans. Shit was wicked. And that was a bad John. We definitely gonna talk about. I mean, we already spoke about that. We really gonna get into what's next for Floyd Schofield, to be honest with you. All right. Jab Queen, what's going on, Jab Queen? Yeah, like how you sound talking about you don't know who Lamont Roach is? Like the fuck, you knew him enough to fight him. You knew enough to spar the nigga previously, fight him in the amateurs. Um, you know him well enough to take a knee against him and get your face wiped from the corner during a live round. You know him well enough to get a draw against him. Like what the fuck is we even talking about, bro? Like that just sounds super dumb. Now, if this nigga was calling you out and he was a nobody and you say you don't know who he is, all right. You know what I mean? I understand. But you genuinely know this nigga and you talking about you don't know who he is. I don't understand. I don't understand. Sounds super dumb. But anyways, go ahead and hit the like button, y'all. We're going to get right into this boxing talk, you feel what I'm saying? I don't plan on being here for 2-3 hours, you know what I'm saying? So, well, I always say that, and then I end up being on here for 2-3 hours. But the plan is to not be on here 2 or 3 hours. So let's go ahead and hit the like button. Lamont hit his head a little too hard. Shit, that's what it's looking like. I don't really understand that shit. You know what I mean? I don't get it. But whatever, it is what it is. Now look, now Tank, because they was, I believe that comment had came from somebody asking him to, go live with him because Lamont Roach he be on Twitch or whatever, streaming while he be playing games and shit like that, which is very smart. You know what I mean, on his part, because he's gaining the audience, he's keeping he's engaging with the people, and that's how you build a loyal fan base. You know what I mean? So if Tank was smart, like if he was really like if he was really like a showman and really cared about pay-per-view numbers and shit like that, and obviously he does numbers regardless. But what I'm saying is, to continue stirring the pot and keep people's eyes on the rematch, I would join the live with Lamont Roach and go at it with him on live. Like that would be a genius move. You know what I'm saying? But I guess Tank don't move like that. He don't think like that. God damn, bro. What's up with these fucking trolls, bro, with this Lamar Jackson shit? God damn, that shit is non-stop. Marky Dan, he said, did y'all niggas hear Auntie Schofield say they hypnotized Junior before every fight? So that's not him in the ring. We gotta listen to the nonsense for the next 6 months. Hey, man. There's an easy way to fix all of that. Y'all gotta beat him. Well, it's not easy, but there is a solution as to how you could stop Auntie Skull from talking crazy. Somebody gotta beat Kid Austin, bro. You know what I mean? Tevin wasn't able to do so. Motherfucker got packed up, Amazon primed, iced. You feel what I mean? He ain't had no solutions, got caught cold. You know what I mean? He wasn't able to recover. Second knockdown was more brutal than the first one. Got stopped on his feet. It is what it is. What is going on? Tevin got smoked in 30 seconds. Shit. That nigga turned that nigga Tevin Farmer. Kid Austin turned that nigga Tevin Farmer into Tevin Campbell. Can we talk about it? Girl, I wanna know your name. Can we talk for a minute? God damn. That nigga on the... Yo, you know what? Let me stop Ben. That shit ain't funny. Girl, I want to know your name. Yeah. These trolls coming in full force. Keep packing these niggas, bro. We gotta keep the wrenches sharp. No. Nah, for real though. Let's stop talking crazy about Tevin. We gotta salute the man for taking on top tier opposition consistently. You know what I mean? And considering what he went against early on in his career, he's actually overachieved. Like let's be honest. You know what I mean? Let's put the jokes down and shit like that. Tevin Farmer has overachieved with the circumstances that he faced early in his career, being inexperienced as an amateur, just jumping into the pros, you know what I mean, coming in as a B-level guy, you know what I mean, taking the sport seriously and just going on a fucking legendary run, you know what I'm saying, in terms of, getting all those wins up, going up against the odds and getting robbed and, you know what I mean, going in motherfuckers' backyard. This man went into enemy territory, just like Devin Haney, just like Terrence Crawford, just like Earl Spence. You know what I mean? They went behind enemy lines, went to do home country and beat him in front of his people to become world champion, was the most active world champion at one point in time, ran up like 5 title defenses. He didn't duck any smoke. He looked for the Gervonta Davis fight. You know what I mean? I don't know how that situation went, but he was pursuing that fight, before he was even world champion. Um, Went in there with a highly rated contender at the time, Jojo Diaz, took an L, came back in the mix. You know what I mean? And look what he's done like recently, like Raymond Mortatalia, top lightweight contender who's now at the time who's now the IBF lightweight champion of the world. And you facing the number one contender in the lightweight division back to back in William Cepeda. You know what I mean? Who had a high knockout ratio, brutal pressure fighter who lets his hands go, a tough fight for just about anybody. Then you get in there with a young, up and coming, I guess you could say, top contender in the lightweight division as well, Kid Austin. And you know what I mean? It happened how it happened, but you got to give the dude props for actually taking on, these high level guys. You see what I'm saying? Because first of all, he's not even a legit 135. To be honest with you, like his prime years was at 130. He went up there and gave everybody smoke outside of Kid Austin. So you got to give the dude credit, man. You got to give the dude credit. But so yeah, man, salute the type of farmer. So let's get into this announcement that Turkey Al Sheikh had just put up on social media, man. This is some exciting news. You know what I mean? The boxing fans were worried at one point in time because when Bill Haney and Brian Norman Sr. had gotten into it on social media, on YouTube in front of the boxing world, a lot of people were under the impression that this fight had completely fallen apart and that, we won't be getting like we wouldn't be getting the fight. You see what I'm saying? But Turkey Al Sheikh has just come out with an announcement recently. Let's just put this out here right now. Let's put it. Let's read it. Let's read it. Turkey Al Sheikh posted about 11 hours ago. He says, in November in Riyadh, Brian Norman Jr. will defend his welterweight title versus Devin Haney on the Riyadh season card. More exciting surprises to come. These are the words from Turkey Al Sheikh. Man, this is absolutely phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? This is a fight that, I didn't really think that we were going to get anytime soon. But, we get it this year. So I'm highly excited for this fight right here. Brian Norman coming off of a spectacular knockout of the year candidate against Jin Sasaki. You know what I mean? Heavy-handed guy, great counter puncher, great composure. You know what I'm saying? Decent boxer. I would classify Brian Norman as a solid puncher that could box. You see what I'm saying? Um, he got some underrated skills if we being honest. Like I said, I think his best attribute, in terms of his offense, is his catching and shooting ability. You know what I mean? That could pose a lot of problems for guys who um are volume punchers or guys who, sit in the pocket a little bit too long. You know what I mean? Brian Norman could be a threat for just about anybody, but he's going up against a style that doesn't really take part in, applying pressure or, sitting in the pocket too long. You know what I mean? He's going up against Devin the Dream Haney. Devin Haney, I consider him to be a well-rounded guy. He's not the biggest puncher whatsoever. I think that's been one of like the biggest criticisms about him, but he's sharp. Um, Good punch placement. We seen that in the Vasily Lomachenko fight. One of the best jabs in the sport of boxing, if we're being honest, the most important punch in boxing, and he happens to have a world-class jab. Fast hands, and what makes him a threat as well is that he has very fast feet to go along with it. Real athletic kid. And he's I think he's a masterclass outboxer, if we being honest, especially in the division that he's going to be stepping into at 147. And if we being honest, this is going to be his first fight at the full welterweight limit. You see what I mean? He's been fighting at cash weights and slowly, getting, I guess getting up to the weight. But look, he got it going. He's officially stepping into the 147-pound division. I think that this has been a long time coming for Devin Haney. I think that when he was at 35, he should have been at 40. And by the time he got to 40, he was already, outside of that weight class. You see what I mean? So I think he's going to be at the right weight class. I think that he's going to feel a lot better, body wise. But he's going in there with a guy who has extremely heavy hands. This is somebody that you can't afford to make mistakes against. He might not be as fast, in terms of hand speed in comparison to Ryan Garcia, but it looks like he has heavier hands than Ryan Garcia. You see what I mean? So this is something that Devin Haney is gonna have to take into consideration and really formulate a great game plan. You know what I'm saying? Just based off of what I've seen in Brian Norman, historically, especially with that Quentin Randall fight, he has a little bit of trouble with the athletic outboxers. You see what I'm saying? So I'm assuming that Brian Norman and his father, Brian Norman Sr., who came on the channel recently, are gonna go into the lab and work on some things. You know what I mean? They're gonna study a whole lot of tape on Devin Haney, see his flaws, see what he's good at, what he's not good at. You know what I mean? And look to neutralize his strengths and take advantage of his weaknesses. You know what I mean? As any top coach would do. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of cutting off the ring, a lot of punching in between Devin Haney's punches. Body attack. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for the Normans to really take place in that because if you really want to disable Devin Haney, you got to take away one of his best assets. And besides his jab, it is his foot speed. How are you going to be able to take his legs from him? You got to go to the body. You see what I mean? So, I'm sure that they know that though. They're at the top of the welterweight division right now. They got there, you know what I mean, through hard work, dedication, and consistency. So they know what it takes. You know what I mean? Devin Haney's definitely the more experienced guy. Um, I think Devin Haney's the more skilled guy, but Devin Haney's jumping into a division where guys are significantly bigger. He seemed to be the bigger guy most of the time at 35 and 40, but at 47 is going to be a completely different ball game. So I'm looking forward to seeing the approach that Devin Haney's going to take to this fight against Brian Norman. Is he going to pull out the Regis Pro grade bag? Is he going to pull out the Jose Ramirez bag? Is he going to get bold and pull out the Ryan Garcia bag? I doubt it. To be honest with you, I think he'd be a damn fool to step to Brian Norman. But, yeah, I mean, let's see what they cook up, man. You never know with the Haney. So I love this fight. Shout out to Brian Norman. Shout out to the Normans and the Haneys for coming together to make this fight happen despite their differences and disputes that they had online. And I'm looking forward to the build-up, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking forward to the build. I'm looking forward to the trash talk and, you know what I mean, the promotion and the lead up to the fight because this is going to be the trash talk is definitely going to be out there. Bill Haney going to be in his bag. Brian Norman Sr. don't hold his tongue either. So it's going to be a good jump. I'm going to go ahead and take this allergy pill before my allergies start tweaking. I done cleaned this whole damn house today. Looks clean as a motherfucker, but I guess that cat hair is still around. Salute to everybody in the building. And I want to say this too, and I'm glad that Spada, I think that's the name, brought up. And I know this is gonna bother a lot of people because a lot of people don't like Devin Haney, but this is the reality, yo. You gotta salute Devin Haney for taking on the best competition available. You know what I'm saying? It kind of gives me like Earl Spence vibes. Remember when Earl Spence was coming up and you know, he was like, "Oh, I don't do no tune-ups." It seems like Devin Haney, is following that same blueprint. You know what I mean? You could look at his resume and be like, "Oh, Jose Ramirez." Jose Ramirez is not a tune-up, yo. He might have made him look like one, but a former unified world champion in the division that they was fighting in, nah, not at all. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a tune-up, and you know what I mean. Jose Ramirez, if you lacking, he could beat your ass. You feel what I'm saying? Was he like at his peak? No, but at the same time, that's still a formidable opponent. Um, Kind of like when Earl Spence came back from the car crash and he fought Danny Garcia. Was Danny Garcia was at his peak at the time? No, but he was a multi-division world champion and was unified, just like Jose Ramirez was at 140 pounds. So and he made Danny Garcia look like easy work. And Danny Garcia ain't no easy work because if you lacking, he will beat your ass. You feel me? So you gotta salute Devin Haney for this, man. Like y'all favorite fighters, they could learn something from Devin Haney. You know what I mean? If they had the belief in them, if they had self belief like Devin Haney, we probably see some bigger fights. You know what I mean? You're not gonna be talking about needing a few Ferraris before negotiations, and you're not gonna talk. Motherfuckers ain't gonna be bringing up the fact that that this guy's bigger and all this bullshit. Nah, motherfuckers gonna make the best fights happen. You feel what I mean? Um, this is a phenomenal fight. This is a dangerous fight for Devin Haney, to be honest with you. Devin Haney lacks defensively for like in any instance in this fight and gets caught clean, he might not be able to beat that count, y'all. You see what I'm saying? So I know that Devin Haney knows that this is a dangerous fight, but the fact that he's actually able to he's actually willing to, take this fight despite, taking a lot of punishment and the fight before his most recent fight, coming off of a year layoff prior to his last fight. He's going straight into the smoke, yo. He goes straight into the smoke. So I think this is a winnable fight for Devin Haney, by the way, but it's extremely dangerous as well. But he's putting himself in position right now where he could become a 3 division world champion. That's phenomenal. You know what I mean? Undisputed in one division, was able to grab another title, against a champion in his first fight at 140. Now he's going up to 47. Technically his first, and I don't understand, like he fought at cage weights that was technically a welterweight contest, but this is his first bout at that 147-pound limit. So taking that into consideration, he's going right up against the champion, no tune-ups at all. You know what I mean? Not looking for any turkeys or anything like that. He going against Brian Norman Jr., like I said, who just came off of a sensational knockout in his last fight. You know what I'm saying? So salute to Devin Haney for, putting that out there. I think that these guys are both capable of winning this fight. And when you can make a valid explanation as to how both of these guys can win the bout, that's how you know you got a competitive fight. You know what I'm saying? So this shit's lit, is on and popping. It's gonna be some time from now before we see that, because we currently in June and July, August, September, October. We got a good 5 months, I believe. Yeah, we got a good 5 months, so there's gonna be plenty of time until then. You know what I mean? I guess we gotta look forward to the, Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez fight prior to that. So it is what it is. Fuck it. I'm just glad that they was able to solidify that fight and come to an agreement, because when I heard them shouting and yelling at each other on Coach Malachi channel, I thought that the fight was completely lost, man. You know what I'm saying? And then I seen Champside that did an interview, I think, with Tay Jones, who happens to be a part of Brian Norman's team or close friend or whatever. And they were saying how, the fight, not gonna happen. You see what I mean? So I don't know if Turkey Al-Sheikh got on the phone and fixed up some things. I don't know exactly what the case was, but regardless, we got the fight, so that's all that matters. You see what I mean? And I actually seen Turkey Al-Sheikh just write something recently. He actually uh he actually had put up a quick little post thanking Bob Arum. He said, "Thank you to Bob Arum and Top Rank for working with us in Riyadh season to deliver their champion, Brian Norman, in a title defense versus Devin Haney in November. More to come with Top Rank." Salute, man. Salute. I guess when you cutting them big checks like Turkey do, them promoters don't mind giving up their champions. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the thing. If they put it, if, let's say they put in, let's say they put 800,000. Let's say they put 800,000 into Brian Norman thus far in their career. You know what I'm saying? So of course they want their return on investment, which I talk about all the time. And Turkey Al-Sheikh be like, "Yo, listen," and I don't know the number, but let's say they be like, "You know what I mean? We're gonna give you 2 million to we gonna cut you a check for 2 million in exchange for having Brian Norman on our card." They gonna take that shit. They just doubled up their return on investment and some change. So I don't know. I don't know, man. Um, when you cutting the big checks like that, man, these promoters will make exceptions. Trust me. If it was for regular money, they wouldn't have done it. So that check that Bob Arum got from, Brian Norman was definitely worth it in his eyes. And Bob Arum been doing business and boxing for, well, I don't know how long. I don't know how long he been in the game. You feel what I'm saying? Bob Arum done been in the game, I don't know how long, since 66. 5 years older than my pops, guys. So you talking about my pop is what, 54? Yeah. He coming up on 60 years, guys. Next year will be 60 years that Bob Arum been promoted. Crazy. That's a phenomenal feat, man. Let me see something. I gotta zoom in on this. Said Devin Haney Promotions is about that smoke. I mean, that's clear. That's obvious, man. You know what I'm saying? The people saying that Devin Haney a damaged fighter, you know what I mean? And he's not gonna be, looking to get into any dangerous fights right now. Obviously, that's wrong. That's wrong. If Devin Haney truly felt inside that he was a damaged fighter, he would not look in Brian Norman's direction. To be honest with you, he wouldn't have even looked for that Ryan Garcia rematch. You know what I'm saying? So you can tell Devin Haney believes in himself. You know what I mean? You can tell he's really in tune with his faith because what I always hear Devin Haney say is that Allah is the perfect planner. You know what I mean? And he says that everything happens for a reason, and he truly believes in himself and his faith. And you got to respect people like that. You know what I mean? The type of people that had that mental fortitude. Because I've seen people that went through less than what Devin Haney went through in boxing, and they completely gave up. I've seen undefeated fighters walk away from boxing because shit got too hard for them. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta really salute Devin Haney for having that mindset and continuously giving us the fights that we're looking for. Ralphie Ray Goza, he says, "What's your early prediction for Norman versus Haney if you had to pick, and why?" As of right now, I'm gonna need to watch more film. I don't watch every Devin Haney fight, so I think I just gotta lock in more on Brian Norman's fights. I'm gonna say that Devin Haney is gonna outbox Brian Norman. You see what I mean? I'm gonna say that Devin Haney is gonna outbox Brian Norman because, for the most part, I think Brian Norman is gonna have a tough time catching up to Devin Haney. You know what I mean? I think Devin Haney is the faster fighter overall. We talking about, quickness. You know what I'm saying? They say quickness is in the mind, so I think that he reacts quicker than Brian Norman. I think that his jab is gonna give Brian Norman a lot of fits. And when Brian Norman is going to be looking to commit the punches, Devin Haney's not going to be there for him to get his punches off. You know what I mean? So unless Brian Norman just does a sensational job with cutting off the ring and really putting a beating on Devin Haney, which is possible, it's definitely possible. I just don't see Brian Norman, although he does look like a phenomenal athlete. I don't think his athleticism is at the same level as Devin Haney's, in my opinion. I think the fast hands, the fast feet, the world class jab, um, and the hand speed that Devin Haney displays through combination punching, I think that's gonna give uh Brian Norman a lot of fits. I can see Brian Norman, who for what I've seen, has always stayed composed. But to be honest with you, I've seen him stay composed against guys who are there in front of him. I don't know how Brian Norman is gonna react to somebody. I don't know how his composure is gonna hold up with somebody who's not gonna be giving him opportunities, to hit him. You see what I'm saying? So how can you say I sound biased? I literally see. This is what happens, right? These motherfuckers got such a strong disdain for Devin Haney. I literally just said that both of these guys could win this fight, and because of that, that's how you know it's a good fight. I'm literally. They asked me for an early prediction, and as of right now, I think that Devin Haney's gonna outbox Brian Norman, and I'm telling you why I believe he's gonna outbox Brian Norman. So, Miguel, if I was to say, "Oh, Brian Norman's gonna win this fight," would you still call me biased? See, what these motherfuckers do is they really reveal what be going on in their head for real. Because they saying I'm being biased when I'm being as objective as possible. So what they're really saying is you're putting out a prediction I don't like. AKA I don't like Devin Haney. I don't like the fact that you picked Devin Haney. You see what I'm saying? Dickhead. He asked me for an early prediction, so I'm giving him an early prediction. You must have came on the live late because I literally said that Brian Norman has the he definitely has the abilities to beat Devin Haney. That was early on in the live. If you need to rewind back, feel free to do so. Dumbass. He ain't even finished letting me cook up before he started talking shit. You know what I'm saying? But regardless, I think that Brian Norman Jr. is gonna have a tough time. One, cutting off the ring because his feet are not as fast and as coordinated as Devin Haney. You see what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if Brian Norman is gonna have the recipe necessary to neutralize. I think he's gonna have a tough time getting past Devin Haney's jab. The lateral movement, the jab, you know what I mean? I think a lot the overall boxing IQ and Devin Haney being more experienced, that's gonna play a part as well. You know what I'm saying? So I think that Devin Haney has the abilities necessary to hit and not get hit against Brian Norman. Brian Norman, he really thrives against styles, with motherfuckers that stand in front of him or attempt to be the aggressor. You know what I mean? It's when you step to Brian Norman is when you pretty much giving him what he wants, and then he's able to pick you off as a result of that. Devin Haney's not going to give him that opportunity. We've seen him struggle against Quentin Randall. You know what I'm saying? I seen Quentin Randall box this dude. You know what I mean? And I've seen him having trouble, picking up his feet. His footwork didn't look up to par, and uh, just a little bit inexperienced at that time. He might have learned from that situation and gotten better because that's definitely possible, especially when you're young and underdeveloped like Brian Norman is. You definitely can learn from that, grow, and level up as a fighter. I'm not disputing that. But, just based off of the history and what I've seen, I think that Devin Haney's style is going to be Brian Norman's kryptonite. You see what I'm saying? But both of these guys are very capable of defeating each other. That's how you know you got a great fight. Now, what can Brian Norman do to win against Devin Haney? He has to cut off the ring, obviously, because there's no way in hell that Devin Haney is going to be able to stand in front of Brian Norman. Devin Haney's defense ain't set up like that where he can stand in front of somebody and make them miss like a Shakur, a Wilfred Benitez, a Pernell Whitaker, even a Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? His defense ain't set up like that. His first line of defense is his feet and his jab. You see what I'm saying? So Brian Norman is definitely going to have to find ways to cut off the ring, and he's going to have to really drill that in camp. You know what I mean? Hopefully he gets some sparring partners who, are out boxers like Devin Haney. Another thing, he's definitely, whenever Devin Haney stops on a dime and, lets off a combination or lets off a jab, Brian Norman has to be in position to punch. He can't be standing up too tall. You know what I mean? His feet have to be planted. He has to punch in between Devin Haney's punches. That's one way that you could give Devin Haney a run for his money. Putting it in his head that every time he shoots a jab, Brian Norman's going to be there to punch in combinations and possibly clip him. You are most vulnerable when you're throwing punches. So Brian Norman is aware of that. That's one of his best attributes in his, tool bag. He should be looking to use that against Devin Haney. Another thing, when he's cutting off the ring, he needs to make it his business to go to Devin Haney's body. You see what I'm saying? You want to take away his first line of defense, which is his feet. You want to take his legs from him, you got to go to his body. But obviously, this is easier said than done. You know what I mean? I could give motherfuckers a game plan all day, but if they don't have the abilities necessary to execute that game plan is as good as nothing. You see what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So, like I said, both of these guys are very capable of defeating each other. But early prediction as of right now, based off of what I know about both guys, I think that Devin Haney will outbox Brian Norman and become a 3 division world champion. That's what I personally believe. My opinion might change and might not change. You know what I'm saying? But one thing we can't dispute is that Devin Haney has been under them bright lights before. Brian Norman, he's had moments where he's rose to the occasion, like Just Sasaki, Giovanni Santillin, but no disrespect to neither one of those guys. Neither one of them had neither one of those shows had their lights as bright as this show is gonna have, in November. You know what I mean? This is going to be the brightest lights that Brian Norman has ever been under. This is the most experienced top level fighter that Brian Norman has been in the ring against in the pros. And we're going to see exactly what Brian Norman is made of. Is he really the goods? Or Was he just at the right place at the right time when he obtained his WBO welterweight title? We definitely gonna see. We definitely gonna see. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Shout out to my boy. Wait, Anonymous said, no, I think any welterweight gives Norman a better fight than Sasaki. To be honest, Sasaki stood in front of him and got hit with every punch. Facts. What was that, like 58% of Brian Norman's power punches landed? That was, I think it was like 56, 58%. Crazy numbers. I've never seen punch percentages that high, especially power punches. Go 787. He said, my bad for repeating my question, but it's the fight I'm most interested in. Matias versus Puyo. Can you give us a quick breakdown and your prediction since the fight is almost here? Now, that's actually a great question, Ghost. So I'm gonna actually answer that right now for you since you're the brother. I went back because initially, and I still feel this way, this is a 50-50 fight. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I personally think. I felt like if Matias was more consistent in his performances, I think that I would lean it a little more towards Matias' direction. But Matias is like a dice roll with this guy. Like he can look phenomenal one day and then he can look trash another. And he hasn't shown to be reliable thus far in his career. You know what I mean? I think those two losses that he had picked up, in his career, I just think those were off days that he could have. I think he could have beat Liam Paro. He was picking it up at the end. I think that if he would have, been himself and started a little bit earlier, I think he could defeat. I think he could have defeated Liam Paro. The same thing with I think his name was like Petros Ananyan. I can't pronounce his name, but the dude he ended up avenging his loss against. I thought he could have beat him as well. He was just completely off, not focused on those fights. So that's a red flag to me, right? So it's all a matter of whether Matias is going to be locked in, focused or not. You know what I mean? Matias looks locked in and can't. It looks like he's in phenomenal shape. Looks like he's already on weight, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna tell you, I went back and watched that Sandor Martin fight with Puyo, man. And Puyo, he has a sturdy jab, but I really think that his style is more based around like counter punching and basically standing his ground. Those like his whole planting his feet and punching with Subaru Matias, that actually made play in Matias' favor. I see how easy Sandor Martin got on the inside and was ripping them body shots and shit like that. And I was like, man, Matias really has a good chance of beating up Puyo, especially to the body, man. Like I'm seeing Sandor Martin close that gap and punch in combinations to the body. Like blasting off combinations to the body. I'm like, bro, Matias is a fighter that has a high work rate and loves to go to the body. I hope Puyo does not give him them opportunities because if that's the case, bro, Puyo is gonna get packed the fuck up. If he allows Matias to go to his body and just shell up and just let those shots go, that them heavy hands that Matias has along with the work rate, bro, that'll be a disaster, an absolute disaster. You feel what I'm saying? Puyo needs to keep he needs to keep the fight at range. He needs to keep him behind his jab. And whenever Matias attempts to close the gap, you know what I mean? Because Matias, he got some underrated head movement, in my opinion. I think he times shots with his head movement real well. He does get hit at times, yes, but I've also seen him slip shots pretty well. And I've heard guys like Andre Ward say that Matias has an underrated defense. So if you're hearing an all-time great fighter who was known for his defense say that somebody has underrated defense, trust me, you know what I mean? There's some defense there on Matias' part. Um, he when Matias attempts to close the gap, Puyo has to punch in combinations and get the fuck up out of dodge. If he shows up and he allows Matias to beat on him, that shit will add up. And Matias gets stronger as the rounds go on. I'm telling you, like that. If you let them body shots pile up, especially in the beginning, and he's coming out just as strong in the seventh round that he came out in the first, that's going to be very, very challenging. That's going to be a very challenging situation to get through. So my prediction, I think that Subriel Matias is going to come out very focused. I think he understands that this is probably his last opportunity at a title shot. I think he's having a phenomenal camp out there in Puerto Rico, and I think he's going to come out on a mission. And I think that Puyo is going to give Matias some difficulties, but I think eventually Matias is going to find a way to, impose his will. You know what I mean? Landing those body shots, bringing them shots up top. And I could really see him breaking Puyo down and actually getting a stoppage. Let's go, champ. And the new WBC 140-pound champion of the world, Subriel Matias. I'm rooting for the big dog, man. But I'm going to say this. If Puyo wins, I won't be surprised. But I'm going for my boy Subriel Matias with the 9th round TKO against Albert Puyo. You see what I'm saying? And we're gonna have a new champion in the division. We're gonna have a new champion in the division. You see what I'm saying? I think Subriel Matias, he left the IBF route, but he gonna grab that WBC title. Wait, is it a WBC? Is it a WBC? My fault. Hold on. Yeah, it's a WBC. We're going to get that WBC title and get on the road. And now you're talking about Subriel and Gary Antoine Russell being champions in the same division. Let's run that. Let's run that. I ain't one of them scary-ass boxing fans that, try to give fighters excuses for not fighting the best. No, let's see that. I need to see that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Puyo versus Russell will be fire. Absolutely. Even if Puyo comes up short, fuck it. That's still a great fight. Matias versus Russell will, man, no motherfuckers is gonna leave that ring damaged fighters, bro. And I see Ryo sneaking some little crafty body shots on Russell and shit. And Russell ate it, but you could tell he felt them jaws a little bit. You know what I mean? It's just as a fighter, you're supposed to just keep it moving. You gotta act unaffected and keep it pushing. You feel me? Matias, he like to go to the body, man. 140 heating up. 140 heating up, man, but at the same time, there's motherfuckers that's in that division that have SSD, man. There's champions. There's 2 champions, in my opinion, in the 140-pound division right now that have SSD. Now, y'all might be wondering, what's SSD? You feel what I mean? And eventually, I'm going to buy me a motherfucking lab coat, and I'm gonna bring the little dry erase board. We're going to break down what selective smoke disorder is. SSD. Selective smoke disorder. It's a disorder in which champions or top-rated fighters in the boxing world only want smoke with certain people in their weight classes, and they avoid certain styles that they know that they'll either have a tough time with or come up short against. You know what I mean? I'm diagnosing Richardson Hitchens, Africa, with selective smoke disorder, and also we're gonna diagnose Teofimo Lopez Jr. with selective smoke disorder. You heard me right, motherfucker. I know TOC are still subscribed to the channel. I seen your bitch ass on my page the other day. Listen, nigga, your son has been diagnosed with selective smoke disorder. You know what I mean? And you got OCD, obsessive coke disorder. So y'all motherfuckers both got illnesses. Y'all need to attend to them. You know what I'm saying? You need to put the fish scale down. Your son need to stop being pussy and get her in the ring with other motherfucking champions in the ring, because you acting like you ain't got to fight nobody in 140 because you beat Josh Taylor. Nigga, you ain't beat Josh Taylor when he was undisputed. By the time you got to Josh Taylor, he was already fucked over. You know what I'm saying? He had only 1 belt to his name. But you over here trying to adopt his accolades as if because he was undisputed and you beat him, now you undisputed. Get the fuck out of here. There's 3 other champions in the division that can give you a shit ton of smoke right now. Your bitch ass don't even want to look their way. You don't want to look at Gary Antoine Russell. You don't want to look at motherfucking Richardson Hitchens, even though you was in the ring acting like you was entertaining them. And then we got the motherfucking Albert Puyo. You won't even mention his name. You won't even mention his name. You ain't mentioning none of the other champions in your division. You just think that you're the superior, so you just looking to move up to 147. But guess what, bitch ass nigga? Guess what? And you was trying to go get the Boost fight. I'm glad Boost ain't give you that motherfucking fight, because your pussy ass don't even deserve a fight at 147. You ain't even do shit at 140. Before Bud left 140, he conquered. Before he went to 147, he conquered 140. You know what I'm saying? When Josh Taylor decided to stay in the division after he became undisputed, he should have moved up, but he didn't. And that's what fucked over his career. Before now you were anyway, You know what I mean? Because he's gonna be making this transition to 126 soon. But he dominated 122, so he has the right to do so. You feel what I mean? Boots attempted to become undisputed in the division. They had some bullshit going on. He grabbed he grabbed three belts, you know what I mean? And he moved up to 154. As he should, because he did what he could in the division that he was currently in. Y'all bitch ass niggas got selective smoke disorder. Hands down, no debating. The lab coat coming soon. I'm gonna have my motherfucking telescope, stethoscope. You know what I mean? We're gonna be diagnosing these fuck niggas all over this channel, man. This is gonna be called, and that's gonna be my Dr. Mazuma TV segment. Y'all motherfuckers got selective smoke disorder, and TOC got that motherfucking OCD, obsessive coke disorder. Motherfucker obsessed with that fish scale. You feel what I'm saying? You gotta put that shit down. And that, you know what I mean? Y'all niggas can't sue me for defamation and none of that bullshit because you came on my channel and admitted that you like to put coke on your genitals when you're performing sexual acts with your significant other. Let's go, champ. Let's go, champ. Yeah, I'm on coke right now. I like to put it on me when I'm fucking. That's a nasty nigga, that TOC. That junior, a nasty. That junior senior, he a nasty motherfucker, boy. The nigga named TOC, but he wants you to call him junior. Well, his son the junior, so we got to call this nigga junior senior. That's how you know the nigga off. That's how you know something wrong with him. That's how you know the nigga's a senior, but he wants you to call him junior. So he walk around having niggas calling him junior senior. That tells you that something's wrong with the nigga. He's conflicted. He don't know how to feel. He don't know how to feel. Let's go, champ. Jordan Rules, what up? Definitely got that selective smoke disorder. You know what I mean? It usually develops in bitch niggas. It happens to develop within bitch niggas. You know what I'm saying? When they when they get in that diva phase, that's when the SSD is very. That's when it becomes very contagious, especially it usually happens with guys who have friends in the weight class too. You know what I mean? Like in the lightweight division, remember when them two guys, you know what I mean? They said they'll never fight each other in the lightweight division, because they brothers, you know what I mean? They came up together. You know what I mean? That usually happens with it's very contagious for fighters who happen to be friends with other champions in their division. You know what I mean? That's where selective smoke disorder starts to kick in. That's when it's most, that's when it's like very contagious. You know what I mean? It's very, very common. It's a very common illness in the sport of boxing right now. This nigga said, bro, my wife is sleeping with my brother. What to do? You need to recognize that she's a whore. Y'all should just take time fucking her. Use her for what she is, brother. You shouldn't have married her. Lorenzo packed you, but I try to give you the best advice, man. I can't control what my wrenches do. They just too sharp. You know what I mean? But if your wife, if your brother running down on your queen, you know what I mean? He doing you a favor. He letting you know that she a straight up thought. So you either gonna kick it to the curb or y'all both gonna fuck her and just, you know what I mean, tag team her on some Shawn Michaels and Triple H shit. So, you know what I mean? You need to figure that out, brother. You shouldn't have married her because your brother hitting her with no attachment. So can you. That's how you know you was sucking because she had to go. For you to get the push, you had to put a ring on. The whole time your brother ain't had to do a motherfucking thing. Nigga just had to be your brother. That's that's what made him eligible. You had to put a ring on it. You know what I mean? Man, man, all these other guys could fuck her, but I have to be in a relationship to fuck her. Man, I hate being a good guy. I bet you do. Let's go, champ. Let's go, champ. Niggas is wilding. Niggas is wilding. Hold up. Hold up. Let's see something real quick. You okay? How many fucking drinks you had tonight, brother? Niggas is wilding. Nigga, nigga, like, so how long have you been knowing that your brother's been fucking your wife? You better hope them kids yours and they not your nephews, nigga. Bad John. Mr. Big Play Bray said, damn, I hope the kid is yours. Facts. He better hope that they ain't his nephews. That'd be a motherfucker. You better hope them your sons and daughters and not your nieces and nephews, nigga. That'd be a bad job. He probably couldn't even tell because you and your brother probably looking like, nigga. Oh, man. Definitely crying in the car. That boy crying in that Honda Civic. Let's go, check. You know he is square, so he got a Honda Civic. I'm the coolest nigga out here that got a Honda Civic. Everybody else, them niggas usually, you know what I mean, turkey time. No, I ain't even gonna talk crazy on my Honda Civic niggas. That nigga crying in the Corolla. T said, who you got, Brian and Devin? I already spoke on that, brother. I said I got Devin outboxing Brian Norman, you know what I mean, to a unanimous decision. On some real shit, I feel like Brian Norman only got a puncher's chance, to be honest with you. I think if he don't clip Dev, I don't think he beat him. He said this can't be true. He must want some attention. Um, shit, he might be telling the truth. Maybe that was his call for help. And Lorenzo was like, man, get him the fuck out of here. Just hit that nigga with the wrench and shit. Do you think he has a better chance in the smaller ring? Kai, that's the thing, man. You're not gonna be able to stop that type of style, regardless of how small you make the ring, yo. Like, if a motherfucker is outboxing you, like if he's swimming without getting wet, bro, you can make it 18 by 18, 16 by 16. It's not gonna change anything, bro. It's not. You feel me? Like, so y'all motherfuckers thinking that just making the ring 2 feet shorter is just gonna completely disable the outboxing. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, bro. Trust me. I done had, bro. We don't fought personally. I done fought in rings that was 20 by 20, 18 by 18, 16 by 16. That shit don't affect the style. That shit don't affect the style at all. Regardless of how small they make the ring, Brian Irvin is still gonna have to cut that bitch off. So you want a slime take on this? I don't know what slime doing. I know slime just got back to the States a couple days ago. He attended to some family shit right now. So I don't know if he really like worried about being on his phone right now. You feel me? But he'll be on soon for sure. Tego, what up, brother? Good to see you. But yeah, man. So that's a phenomenal fight, bro. We gotta salute. We gotta salute the fathers, man. We gotta salute the Normans. You know what I mean? And Norman's management team. Uh, I think he got two managers. One's a female, one's a man. I forgot their names. But shout out to them for making the fight happen. Shout out to Bob Aaron for giving his consent to making the fight happen. Shout out to Devin Haney for taking the chance as he always done. Like as he's always done since he's became world champion. Shout out to Bill Haney, the head of DHP, for you know what I mean, putting his son in position to get this fight going. You know what I mean? And shout out to Turkey Al Sheikh for putting the bread up. You got to think Turkey. I'm critical of Turkey Al Sheikh at times. Sometimes I think he be doing too much. I feel like sometimes he gets in the way in terms of like making other big fights happen. But you know you got to salute them when they doing something right. You know what I mean? As much as we criticize them, we also got to get them praise whenever they do something right. I think Haney can outbox him too. You know what I mean? The hand speed and the foot speed is gonna be very telling. You're gonna see the difference. You're gonna see the difference between the two, man. You know what I mean? Devin Haney and Devin Haney. When has Brian Norman ever went up against somebody with the jab of a Devin Haney? You know, I think a lot of people just going off of recency bias with Brian Norman. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like Brian Norman put Jen Psaki to sleep. So like, oh shit, he might knock Devin Haney out. Okay. Anybody could get clipped. Anybody could get knocked out. That's true. You see what I'm saying? However, um, just Sasaki is not Devin Haney, and Devin Haney is not just Sasaki. You know, Devin Haney's not going to put himself in a position to get hit like just Sasaki. He's not going to allow Brian Norman to hit him how the way just Sasaki allowed Brian Norman to hit him. Totally different styles, two totally different skills. You know what I mean? On totally different levels, man. Like, you know, Devin Haney is levels above just Sasaki. Yeah, he might have been the number one lightweight, the number one welterweight. What was he like? The number one, number two welterweight in Japan? Just Sasaki was. Regardless, um, he's not Devin Haney, yo. Regardless of where he's ranked. Brian had about two questionable fights after Santillan. Well, I believe Brian Norman has only had like two fights since Santillan. So what you referring to, Teach? Pagat Petit, he said, I mean, he let Ryan hit him. All right, that's true, Pagat. I mean, that's definitely true. But I think we could all agree that that was the style that Devin Haney made a mistake in choosing. That was a style that he shouldn't have, went towards, but he did. And I think that was a learning lesson for him. And I think he realized that, that's not for him. I think that he got his emotions. Um, I think he was emotionally invested in the fight and completely threw away, what he was, what he was good at. You know what I mean? I think he wanted to prove himself, and instead of using his brain, he put his heart over his brain in this situation. And I think learning from that situation, I think that Haney now realizes that this is a thinking man's game, not an emotional man's game. So, the smart fighter gonna beat the tough fighter all day, every day. I've seen it multiple times. You know what I mean? So I think Devin Haney learned from that, and I think that's gonna make him a more dangerous fighter. Anonymous said Norman has a lot of questionable fights, period. People forgot Norman nearly got dropped from Top Rank for his trash performances before Santillan. Right. I think that Top Rank set it up for Santillan to, uh get Brian Norman. I think that Santillan fight was supposed to be Norman's exit party. You know what I mean? I think that fight was supposed to be like his exit. Because I was reading about that too. And I think even Brian Norman Sr. has spoken about that. You know what I'm saying? I think that was supposed to be Norman's exit from Top Rank. I think they thought that Santillan was going to beat Brian Norman. You know what I mean? It didn't work out that way, but I think they already had it mapped out like, all right, you know what I mean? Once Santillan, beats Brian Norman, then we just going to release him. Just like how they did with Elvis Rodriguez at one point. They did that shit with multiple fighters. You know what I mean? That shit was set up for Santillan to win, and he fumbled it. Brian Norman was just in a different mode. You feel what I mean? So he rose to the occasion, and he made them niggas understand that he ain't the one to be playing with. So I think I said, to go back to Devin Haney, I think he uses emotions in that Brian Garcia fight. I think he understood that that emotional shit not going to take him nowhere. So now he got to move calculated. He got to listen to his coach. He got to listen to his corner. You know what I mean? He got to follow the game plan that's set ahead of him, not just, saying, oh, I'm going to prove something to him and step to him. Horrible mistake. Horrible mistake. Anonymous said, I think Norman definitely excels against those styles, though. Those two pressure fighters, Santillan and Sasaki, were his best performances. Yeah, that's what I was saying, in the beginning of the live. Brian Norman likes when motherfuckers step to him because it puts him in a position where he can, punch it. Like I said, catching and shooting seems to be his specialty. It seems like that's what he's, that's really his thing. You know what I mean? He don't mind being on the ropes. He don't mind being on, the inside or anything like that. He stays composed. He sees the shots. He catches the shots, whatever the situation is, and then he fires off in between the shots to catch his opponent. To be an effective, to really be in position to be catching and shooting, the person that you're going up against has to either be coming forward or letting their hands go pressuring you. You know what I mean? Brian Norman's best ability will probably be non-existent against Devin Haney. You know what I mean? Devin Haney's not going to be sitting there and be taking them chances where, sitting there with Brian Norman and allowing Brian Norman to punch in between shots. It's not going to happen. Devin Haney's going to get his shots and move on it. He going to get his little quick 2-3 punch combinations, get the fuck up out of there, and keep making Brian Norman reset his feet, looking for Devin Haney. Devin Haney going to drop it. He going to stop at the drop of a dime, boom, 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 get right back up out of there. It's going to be a very frustrating style for Brian Norman to deal with. I'm telling you. He's never seen nobody like Devin Haney. Now, he can catch Devin Haney with some shit and, change the dynamic of the fight. Yeah, of course, there's boxing. But I think that the style overall, Brian Norman has never seen before in the professional ranks. And I don't think that Brian Norman has the tools necessary to really take that away from Devin Haney. I could be wrong. I've been wrong in the past. But this is going to be his toughest opponent to date. Not because, he's going to take punishment, but the styles is going to be so hard for him to, neutralize or adapt against. He's against Devin Haney, in my opinion. I think Brian Norman going to be sitting there questioning himself throughout the fight, like, damn, can I really get to this nigga? I think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be a great display of boxing, and people going to be complaining that Devin Haney didn't sit in front of Brian Norman, so he ran. That's what I think. Miguel says Norman's comfortable at 147. You think Devin first time at 47 will carry well? I'm gonna say it is, and I'm gonna tell you why. Considering how drained Devin Haney looked at 140 pounds, it's like he has no other choice but to carry 147 well. Like, if you struggle to make 135 and then you do 2 fights at 140 and it looked like them camps took a lot out of you there as well, then that just means that you stood at 135 so long. You stood at 135 so long that by the time you got to 40, you outgrew that weight class as well. When you were supposed to go to 40, you stood at 35. So your body was growing, and then you killing yourself to make this weight so much that once it gets that additional 5 pounds on them, that's still not enough because you've been cutting down to that weight so long that your body isn't even gonna be, comfortable with an additional 5 pounds. Now it needs even more. It's gonna demand more out of you. You feel what I'm saying? T says, let me ask you a question. When did Ryan Garcia had his outburst? It is the same time Devin Norman was made. Could he have wanted the death fight? And Oscar said, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think it was pretty clear to see that neither, Ryan Garcia or Golden Boy Promotions wanted that rematch with Devin Haney. You know what I mean? Devin Haney. I mean, first of all, Ryan Garcia had a hand injury, so that's one, right? They saying that he had a hand injury, and then after he does that, the surgery for his hand, now Oscar De La Hoya said that, now he wants Ryan Garcia to get a look. He wants the doctors to look at his shoulder to see if that needs to be repaired. So it's clear at this point in time, and I even heard Oscar De La Hoya say that, I don't know if it was Oscar De La Hoya or somebody close to Ryan, they want Ryan to take another year off. They want him to take another year off. You know what I'm saying? So it seems like Ryan Garcia got multiple injuries. And, De La Hoya just said today or yesterday that, Ryan Garcia is dealing with some mental health episodes and, even called him bipolar and things like that. He hopes that Ryan Garcia gets the help that he needs. I don't think that Golden Boy or Ryan Garcia are necessarily worried about fighting right now. You know what I mean? So that's just my personal opinion. I just I don't think that Ryan Garcia wanted that rematch with Dev. Yeah, Devin's definitely gonna feel better, man. It kind of reminded me back to the Rolly Romero interview I did. Rolly was like, when I was at 35, I should have been at 40. And by the time I got to 40, I was supposed to be at 147. So you delay because they delayed their move up in weight. You know what I mean? By the time they transition to 140, their time there was already expired. You feel what I'm saying? I hope y'all understand where I'm getting at. Like you sacrificed so long at 35 that when your body was groaning for it to go to 140, you told it no. So it went past the 140. It continued to grow, continued to grow, continue to grow. So when your body's craving for you to be at welterweight now, all of a sudden you want to go to 140 and you still feeling like shit. Damn, I put on an additional 5 pounds. Why I still feel drained? Because you delayed your body's like growth pretty much. So now, yeah, you stunting your body's growth, exactly. I'm trying to find the right words. I'm trying to get it in a way like I understand it, but I want y'all. I'm trying to simplify it as much as I can so y'all can understand it. You feel me? You stunting this growth, exactly. Your body's telling you, it's telling you, all right, it's time to move up to 140. No, 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 there's still fights at 35 I want. I'm gonna stick down here for a little bit longer. Now your body's, you know, straining so much that 140 won't be enough for it to feel replenished. You know what I mean? So your time at 40 gonna be limited. So now you need to go to 47. You feel me? So I think that's what happened with Rolly, and I think that's what happened with Devin Haney. So yeah, I think that Devin Haney's gonna feel a lot better at 47. That's the weight class he needs to be at, to be honest with you. Once I seen how much bigger Haney looked next to Regis Prograis, who was a career long 140, I was like, oh yeah, he's not gonna be here that much longer. Yep, your health on the line, not all money, good money. I say that all the time. Say that all the time. How did I feel about the fights last night? Well, and that was then they packed Magic City. What happened? I think it joined 1 minute ago. That's wow. Weirdo. Koki says no one forced Dad to fight at 135 except him and his dad. He should have did 5 to 10 fights at 135 and spent fights 11 through 25 at 140. 25 plus fights at 35 was their decision. I'm not saying anybody forced him to do anything. So I don't know where you got that from. I didn't say that his dad forced him to stay at 47. I didn't say any promoter forced him to stay at well, let me change that. I didn't say anybody forced him to stay at 35. I didn't blame Bill. I didn't blame no promoter. I didn't blame no network. I didn't blame no sanctioning bodies. I said that he stood at the weight too long. So if I'm saying that anybody forced him, I'm holding him accountable for staying at the weight. He's the fighter. He gets to choose what weight class he fights in. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know where you got that from. I didn't say that. How you sending love for North Korea? Pack him the fuck up. Who does dickhead think he fooling? Dummy. Get him up out of here. Oh shit, that's me. Hold on, hold on. I gotta take a picture of that too. Hold on. Damn, why I can't click the John? Hold on. Yeah, go to channel. Ah, he changed it. He changed the pic. Ah. How he changed the pick? Yo, he put like a whiteboard cut on me. How he legit? He legit for real? But he said he from North Korea, bro. They don't. I don't even think they allow you to be on the internet in North Korea. Ain't like the internet banned in North Korea, bro. Aaron says, I believe he has to fight a perfect fight like Leonard against Hagler, and that is a big hill to climb. So, Aaron, just to be clear, you looking at Brian Norman like a Marvin Hagler? Are you looking at this like a Leonard Hagler fight? I respect it. You know, Brian Norman's strong, he tough, he durable like Marvin Hagler. I see what you're saying. Definitely not accomplished like Marvin Hagler. He didn't do what Marvin Hagler did, but you know what I mean, he mean, pressure, he apply pressure, he punch hard, he got dog game. I see what you're saying. I don't think he need to fight a perfect fight. I ain't gonna say all that. I don't know. I don't know if Brian Norman is that, you know. I don't know. I don't know. I just think that he needs to box smart. I think he needs to be himself. And also real shit, I hope they make it at 18 by 18. For real, for real. It'll it'll shut a lot of people up. Bro, that's funny as shit. How the fuck did he how these niggas is taking pictures of me and just putting like white people hair and shit. Yeah, yo, let me take a picture of this. The nigga put glasses on me. Bro, he just took the photo from today. Hold up. Hold on. Gotta take a picture. I'm gonna just take a picture every time they do this shit. My fault, y'all. I'm building up a nice little compilation. That shit funny to me. But anyways, let's get into some open boxing topics. I did want to talk about Floyd Schofield, but then I just peeped. We spoke about Floyd Schofield last night, like in terms of who he could fight next. You know what I mean? I would like to see him versus Lucas Badi, whatever his name is. They're not looking in Abdullah Mason direction. Abdullah Mason caught up with Sam Noakes right now. Shakur, he fighting Cepeda. I ain't gonna lie, I still would like to see Shakur versus Kid Austin, but you know what I mean? They just acted so funny in that first fight with Shakur they were supposed to have that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to go through that again as a boxing fan. You know what I'm saying? So, Kid Austin versus Andy Cruz. They better keep Kid Austin away from Andy Cruz, bro. You can see him versus the winner of Cruz Fierro too. Ooh, that's a good fight. Whether it's Cruz or Fierro, that's a good fight. Chris Eubank versus Conor Benn rematch official. I would love to know the details behind that. Is that still a 160-pound contest? Like what's the case with that? Is it still the same rules? You know what I mean? That's gonna be interesting. Would Ryo fight him? Ryo is in the 135 rankings right now. That's a good fight. That might be that's a dangerous fight for Kid Austin too, but I don't know. They saying 160 rehydration clause again. They trying to fry you big, bro. They trying to fry him. With that punishment that he took against Conor Benn, he might come in less of himself, to be honest with you. Oh man, I'm gonna be rooting for Chris Eubank Jr., but I don't know, man. That's why I'm not really a fan of these rematch clauses and rehydration clauses. Like Conor Ben, bro. Like, knock it the fuck off, bro. Like, you lost, cuz. Get your dumb ass back down to 47 and try to grab a belt. Try to grab a belt. Ryo versus Kid Austin. That's a dangerous fight for Kid Austin, though. But Kid Austin got some hand speed. He got some explosiveness to him, so he could give Ryo some problems. But Ryo cracking too. And he don't mind getting, and even though he's, he don't win out on his ship before, what I mean, against like De Los Santos and all that, he don't mind getting into a gunfight. He might get popped, but if he gotta go there, he'll go there. Yeah, Connor should go down to 47 to 54. Yeah, that's a fact. He definitely should, bro. Like, stop, man. I would like to see Chris Eubank Jr. retire, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I would have liked to have seen Chris Eubank Jr. retire. Because like I said, keep it 1,000. You know, outside of beating Conor Ben, whether he's at 60 or 68, what champions he beating in the weight classes? I don't think he beating any champion. He not beating Canelo, to be honest with you. He not. You know what I'm saying? Even though I would root for him against Canelo, he's not beating Canelo. Uh, is he beating a Christian Mbili who just won recently? No. Is he beating a Diego Pacheco? No. Like I don't even know how he would fare against a Steve Nelson, to be honest with you. I don't know that. You know what I mean? G tatted up TV. What up? He won his lick back against Billy Joe. What weight class is that going to be at? Because Billy Joe looked like he already bid a 200 plus right now. If he was to come back down, what would that fight be at? Billy Joe probably ate himself out at 68 at this point. Would that be a light heavyweight contest? Is Chris Eubank Jr. going to go up there? I don't think so. I just hope that, first of all, hopefully uh Eubank Jr. didn't, really get that damage from that fight. You know what I mean? Two, hopefully he keeping his weight low so when he cuts to 160, it won't be that bad of a cut. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm hoping for. But it's obvious that, you know, uh kind of bending down looking for every advantage possible, bro. It's like, bro, if y'all need that and y'all got caught using PEDs, y'all looking for every possible advantage. Like y'all so scared of this Eubank dude. And look what y'all did. That was a drained Eubank, and he still beat y'all. Drained Eubank. Motherfucker ain't had no gas. This motherfucker was beating you off pure will. Dog. Like if y'all need that much, bro, don't take the fight. Why don't y'all fight his cousin? Don't he got a cousin named Harlem Eubank? Go fight him. He about to fight Jack Catterall, I think. You know what I mean? If he beat Jay Catterall, go fight him. That's still a Eubank Ben fight. Like, fuck, what's your problem? Y'all clearly don't believe in yourselves against Chris Eubank. Y'all scared of the nigga low key. Y'all act like y'all not. Y'all act like, Chris Eubank a nut, but y'all know he a dog for real. That's why y'all knew he was a problem. That's why you was taking PEDs because you was trying to find some type of advantage against him because you knew he was better than you. Keep it 1,000. You know what I mean? You wouldn't do that. And Caleb Plant had a fucking perfect quote for this. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers who take PEDs, and I'm paraphrasing, of course. Motherfuckers who take PEDs, they don't believe in themselves. They insecure. That's an insecure motherfucker right there. All them tattoos and all that shit. He want to give you the illusion that he tough. This nigga soft, super soft. He want to give you the tough nigga vibe so bad. Like nigga, you stop it, stop it. You was never needing of nothing, nigga. You know Spanish and all, because your dad was living out in Spain and all type. Nigga, you had the good life, nigga. Stop it. You was eating dinner every night with a motherfucking what's that shit called? With a motherfucking wiping your mouth with a handkerchief, nigga. Shut up. Soft as shit, nigga. Yeah, tatted up to the bone for an image. Facts. Don't nobody believe that tough shit you on, nigga. Yeah. Eating them nasty ass crumpets. Fuck out of here. Tea and crumpets, yup. Nigga sip tea with his leg crossed. Like a little privileged pussy. Straight up. Don't nobody believe that tough shit Connor been on. Fuck out of here. But let's get one more question in before I get up out of here. You know what I mean? He said Eubank was fed with a silver spoon too, but he is different. He always wanted to fight. And Eubank, but the thing about Eubank, he don't give me no tough dude vibes. You know what I mean? Like he don't be running around looking for problems. He be to himself. He be well spoken, laid back. This Connor Bimbo, like he just want to prove he tough so bad. Want to talk shit to everybody. Motherfucker got beef with everybody. Trying to call everybody wants to act like he's so tough. And it's like, nigga, you not cut like that. Like you not. And it's okay to not be cut like that. You want to fit this image so bad that when niggas look at you, you want niggas to fear you. Whole time you not like that, brother. You not. Motherfucker look like a whole G Unit tank top model trying to tell you he tough. Remember them G Unit tank top? The G Unit. Them motherfucking tank tops with the motherfuckers as close as shit to the neck. That's the shit that Chris Connor Ben used to model for them motherfucking G Unit tank tops. Motherfucker want to give you the illusion that he tough. Get the fuck up out of here, nigga. You look like you let bitches play with your booty, nigga. Ain't nothing intimidating about your motherfucking nigga be lost as shit. Nigga bald headed one day, next day, wake up 2 days later, this nigga got a motherfucking this motherfucker got a finger wave, and this nigga got braids. I'm like, oh yeah, this nigga different. Them tank tops was ugly as fuck. Yeah, Connor Ben used to model them Jones when he was a young boy. Facts. He said, let's talk about how great Miguel Cotto was in the smoke. He never ducked from anyone. He ducked Triple G, but that was later on in his career. He wasn't really a middleweight. He did that shit just because he knew Sergio Mora knees was. I mean Sergio Mora. Sergio Martinez's knees was shot. He knew that that was an easy lick. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, Miguel Cotto, he was a. I mean, he's not like he's not. He wasn't ever one of my favorite fighters, but he was he was he was a good fighter, man. He got some great wins. Zab Judah, motherfucking Shane Mosley, Paulie Malignaggi. Not the gatekeeper, Paulie Malignaggi. When Paulie Malignaggi was coming up, he was one of them guys. Um, he got his get back against Antonio Margarito. The Josh Cloudy fight was a good fight. Of course, the Sergio Martinez John was a good John. Puerto Rico was happy that day. He did his thing. Ain't no way. Stop it. You said he's the best PR boxer out of all. You clearly ain't do your research. No way you can sit here and tell me that he better than Tito Trinidad. Torres, the nigga who had him on Queer Street. That's what you talking about? How he the best Puerto Rican boxer out of all of them? I need to know how he greater than Tito Trinidad. Shit. Shit. You out your mind. You crazy as hell. Tito way greater than Miguel Cotto. This nigga said best PR boxer, that's Belonga. All right, yeah, hold that 1 minute timeout, Coffee. Gotta come back a better man off that, John. I hate to do that to you, Coffee, but you jump out the window sometimes, cuz. Berlanga? He was the first ever to win multiple championships in different weight classes. You're wrong. He was the first Puerto Rican to win in 4 different divisions. That's what you meant to say, but he wasn't the first to win multiple championships in different weight classes. That's not true. You're spreading false information, brother. You gotta tighten up. Because Tito Trinidad won the 3 different divisions before Miguel Cotto. Wilfred Benitez won in multiple weight classes before Miguel Cotto. We gotta tighten up a little bit here, brother. No, that's not true, brother. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. Tito, Miguel Cotto had like more spring, like he was lighter on his toes than Tito Trinidad and shit like that, but he was not a bigger puncher than Tito Trinidad. You know what I mean? Cotto had a good left hook to the body, but Tito was a great body puncher too. You know what I'm saying? Um, like Tito was the better fighter. Tito was a way better fighter than Tito. I mean, Tito was a way better fighter than Cotto. Nah, Coffee playing my boy. He be tripping though. I fuck with Coffee heavy. Yeah, but nah. Tito Trinidad was greater than Miguel Cotto, one of the longest title reigns in welterweight history. He got bigger wins on his record than Miguel Cotto, better resume than Miguel Cotto, in my opinion. If we talking about like wins, Tito Trinidad versus Errol Spence would have been fire, bro. Oh my god, I'd have loved to have seen that fight. Tito versus William Job be one of the biggest ass whoopings I've ever seen. Where's do I got my Tito Trinidad magazine over here? Or did I leave that at the gym? Let me see something real quick. Yeah, Kodo was slicker than Tito. There you go. Shout out to my boy Tito Trinidad. Back in January 19th of 2022. He gave me a custom autograph, y'all. Did I ever show y'all this? I don't know if I ever gave y'all that. If I ever showed y'all that. You said you got that same magazine. I bought it as soon as they put it out there. And I had asked his translator that I know personally. I was like, yo, is there any way I could get an autograph from Tito Trinidad? She was like, let me see what I could do. Send me over the magazine. You know what I'm saying? So she went, sent it over to him. He signed it. He sent it back. Para Marcus Rosa. Tito Trinidad Campeon. This ain't no cap signature neither, nigga. Go look up his signature there. Look at this. And he signed my gloves personally. I met Tito Trinidad in person. He signed my gloves for me personally. Got a t-shirt. I got a t-shirt signed from Miguel. I mean, not Miguel Cotto. That's how you know I'm tired. I got a boxing glove signed by Tito Trinidad in the flesh. I got it on photo. We got pictures together. All that good shit. He signed a t-shirt. Him and his father, Tito Trinidad, Felix Trinidad Sr., he signed my t-shirt along with Miguel. I mean, damn, why I keep saying Miguel Cotto? I don't want no signature from Miguel Cotto. Another John. He signed another magazine of mine as well, because I had his old Ring magazine from like 2003. You feel what I'm saying? And this magazine fire though, because look, talk about his Olympic dreams being fucked over by politics. They got Leonard Duran. Look at how hyped the Puerto Rican people was whenever Tito fought. You know what I mean? Tito. They need to bring back those fight uniforms too, bro. That shit is fire to me. That old school shit. This is when Tito Trinidad beat the dog shit out of Larry Barnes. Look, ironically, they got Fernando Vargas in the Sunday. Look at that. Shit, fire. What about Winky Wright? Shit, Winky Wright fried my boy Tito, man. But that was Tito. He was already out the door, man. Yeah, that Larry Barnes fight, he fucked Larry Barnes up bad. Larry Barnes was trying to do his best Mike Tyson impression, bro. Tito was just picking him off at range. Pop, pop. And he finished him to the body. Boom, took all the gas out of Larry Barnes' tank. That was a great fight. That is fire, bro. Look at that. Fire picture. Look at that. That's when Tito probably was like 20 years old. I don't fuck with this. I don't know what Tito doing. They a little wild for that. Even Don King looking at him like he's stupid. Look, he like, nigga, fuck nigga, put some clothes on, fuck nigga. Viva Puerto Rico, put some clothes on, nigga. He wilding with the Speedos, but you know what I mean, that's my guy. This is where he put Maurice Blocker to sleep when he got his first world title. He did Maurice Blocker super dirty. Anyways, oh yeah, when he beat up on Hector Camacho. Shout out to Hector Camacho Jr. I worked his corner for his last fight out in Delaware. And then this is when he fought Yuri Boy Compass, where he was 56-0 with 50 knockouts. A highly avoided welterweight contender at the time. 56-0 with 50 knockouts, y'all. Tito stopped him. Yep. Look at the boy Pernell, the motherfucking GOAT Pernell Whitaker, man. R.I.P. to Pernell. One of the greatest fighters of all time. And that's Benji Estevez. That's Benji Estevez. That's the ref right here, by the way. I actually want to bring Benji Estevez up on the channel. But y'all fuck with that? Y'all probably don't know who Benji Estevez is, but man, he's refereed some of the greatest fights that we've ever seen. You know what I mean? I think he's still active as a ref too. So I would love to talk about fights that he did and stuff like that. People don't interview referees. I'd love to do that. Look at that. That's dope, bro. Look at that shit. Tito ain't duck no smoke. Pernell was giving everybody gas. Nigga, in today's time, everybody would have avoided Pernell, bro. Oh shit, look at De La Hoya. Motherfuckers forgot De La Hoya was a savage. They forgot De La Hoya was a savage. They caught up in the weird shit he be doing now. De La Hoya, he a goat. Man, listen. Tito, my boy, and Pernell, your boy, right? Man, Winky fried my boy. Bernard fried my boy. Roy Jones fried my boy. That's how the game go. When you fight the best motherfuckers, you gonna come up short. You gonna come up short. Pernell went right into the smoke. Tito versus Vargas. They was building up Vargas crazy. And this is David Reed, John, right here. David Reed actually fought my dad in the amateurs. David Reed was an Olympic gold medalist for Philadelphia. And then this the fight that broke my heart right here. The top and the bottom. Look. B Hot, Winky. I still will never watch neither of them fights to this day. If Tito and Oscar was at welterweight right now, these niggas that I don't know, bro. I don't know. You gonna need to be like a phenomenal talent, like a Jerron Ennis, Terrence Crawford, to hang with them niggas, bro. To be honest with you. Oh shit! Look at this. Benny Boom and Busta Rhymes with Tito Trinidad. That's how you know Tito Trinidad was washed. Once he had the high cut like that, you knew he was done. And Winky right. That's when he beat the shit out your boy Mayorga. My favorite Tito Trinidad picture of all time. Fire. I wanted to get a portrait of Tito Trinidad, like a tattoo. I'll probably still do that. Anyways, shout out to Tito Trinidad, man. When I move into like my house, and I have like my own little man cave and shit like that, yeah, it's still in like really great condition. And make sure, you know what I mean, this joint put up somewhere. Nah, Mayorga was a dog. Bro, I wish I could give y'all a tour of my gym. Like all the autographs we got, bro. We got autographs from everybody. Everybody. We got a authenticated boxing glove that was signed by every fighter that was a part of the 96 Olympic team. So we got Floyd Mayweather. I think Floyd was a part of the 96. So that includes, it was David Reed, Floyd Mayweather, Antonio Tarver, Terrence Cawthon, Fernando Vargas, Zaire Raheem, David Diaz, Roshi Wells. Yeah. Nate Jones, Shout out to Nate Jones. He visited the gym before. Eric Morrell. Yeah, we got a boxing glove signed by every fighter that was a part of the '96 Olympic team. That's one of my favorite ones. Boxper says, bro, no funny shit. I was there gonna ask you if you ever been to Brotherhood, Gym X, Williamsburg, or Sosa's Gym, Cops and Kids. I dead feel like I seen you in one of them joints. Where would them joints be at, bro? Is that New York? A lot of niggas look like me, man, so that probably wasn't me to be honest with you, but I do be at the amateur events a lot, if that's what you're referring to. For sure, for sure. Um, I've never been to a boxing event in New York, so that was not me, brother. But I do be in North Jersey a lot. On some real shit, I would travel to New York for an amateur event, but them dudes don't be wanting to put us on their cars for some reason. Probably because they probably feel like we want to sell tickets or whatever. It is a business. It is what it is. But North Jersey, like we be up like Brunswick, Edison. We was in Hackensack, Perth Amboy, Freehold, that's Central Jersey, Forked River. Like we be all over North Jersey though. You feel me? But yeah, I haven't done an event in New York yet. I would love to though. John Pierre, he at 165, I believe. Yeah, I've been hearing about him. Yeah, I've been hearing about him. I think he at 165. I would actually like to get some work with him because I got some 165s too that I think could give him some good work. You said 154? Or I think I used to follow his coach. I gotta check. I think I used to follow his coach on either my boxing page or my gym page. One of them. But anyways, I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody that came through and showed love to the channel. If y'all can go ahead and hit the like button on the way out, that'd be very much appreciated. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Devin Haney, shout out to Brian Norman for making the fight official. Back in November, I gave you guys my early prediction. We chopped it up, all that good stuff. You feel what I mean? If y'all can hit the like button on the way out, that'd be very much appreciated as well. Until then, y'all have a blessed, beautiful night. I'll be back at y'all tomorrow night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, y'all have a blessed one, man. Peace.